Michael Kaiser is highly regarded as a genius in the world of professional football.
Kaiser plays for one of the best teams in the world in Bastard Munchen, and his individual skills are highly respected by his teammates, opponents, and even the current best striker in the world, Noel Noa.
Outside of his abilities as a player, Kaiser the individual is shown to be very arrogant, immature, and disrespectful at times. To some people like me and like Isagi, Kaiser can come off as an asshole.
It's no secret at this point, Kaiser has a superiority complex. He believes in only himself, and he believes he is a gift from God himself. His superiority complex is the essence of his character. It's what makes Kaiser who he is. But we believe that his superiority complex is also Kaiser's greatest weakness.
In this video, we will be exploring the character Michael Kaiser and speculating his eventual downfall.
Since his introduction in the NEL, Kaiser has been viewed as the #1 player in the Bastard Munchen team. Early on, we see Kaiser's obsession with being the #1 player. He even states that he came to Blue Lock to crush Isagi. With Isagi's recent popularity from the Japan U20 match, Kaiser decided he wants to crush his new upcoming talent.
He even goes as far as sabotaging Isagi in his initial training with the Bastard Munchen team. Isagi was positioned at the bottom of the team because he didn't get to properly finish.
And this act was the beginning of the Isagi and Kaiser rivalry. We also believe this act was Kaiser's first mistake. Since Kaiser is blinded by his own superiority complex, he was expecting to come to Blue Lock and easily crush Japan's new hero, but he was so wrong.
It was truly ignorant of Kaiser to treat Isagi like he was a nobody. Challenging Isagi was a huge mistake on Kaiser's end. His self-obsession blinded him to the monster he was about to awaken.
Thanks to Kaiser being an asshole, Isagi's new motive was to destroy Kaiser and make his life in Blue Lock a living hell. And this became very clear in Bastard Munchen's first match against FC Barca.
Thanks to Kaiser sabotaging Isagi earlier in the story, Isagi wasn't able to acquire an appropriate ranking, so he was forced to start on the bench for Bastard Munchen's first NEL match. It's important to note that this was also the only time we got to see Bastard Munchen team completely under Kaiser's control.
After Botcher scores the first goal of the match, Kaiser immediately scores an amazing equalizer with his signature Kaiser impact. This is the first time we see Michael Kaiser and the other Bastard Munchen players properly execute super rational plays designed for Kaiser. It was a fluid and direct attack that resulted in Kaiser scoring an incredible goal.
When Isagi was first watching Bastard Munchen play against FC Barca, he got drawn to Kaiser's playstyle. Isagi stated that Kaiser possessed his ideal playing style, and he even started to see himself in Kaiser's movements. After witnessing the Kaiser impact, even Isagi deemed Kaiser to be a perfect embodiment of a striker.
Despite the respect for his abilities, these two absolutely hate each other and sabotaged each other in the match.
It's incredible that they're all on the same team because it doesn't even look like they're teammates. They're just deliberately stealing passes and working against each other.
And at first, Isagi was struggling to adjust to the current level of the NEL, but like we said, Isagi is a genius of adaptability, and he was able to overcome this early adversity. And by the end of the first match, Isagi was able to assist Kunigami and help Bastard Munchen beat FC Barca. Isagi successfully denied Kaiser and his philosophy.
It's important to note that Isagi subconsciously awakened Metavision right before he got his assist. It seems like Isagi was experiencing a despair-like moment after realizing he wasn't leaving a good impression in the match, so he decided to steal the ball from Ness and act as a playmaker to prove his value to the team. This also acted as a challenge to oppose Kaiser by utilizing Kunigami instead of passing the ball to Kaiser. These two hate each other so much that they are willing to create new, effective, creative ways to ruin each other's success. This is D1 hater shit.
Honestly, it really is. And after the match, Kaiser came to tell Isagi that he is giving him the new role of Kunigami's Bandit A. And as a response, Isagi decided to give Kaiser the role of the Naked Emperor, stating that Isagi plans to steal everything from Kaiser, and this was proven correct because in the next match against Manshine City, Isagi was able to beat Kaiser, and we see more of Kaiser's flaw come to the surface.
Before the match started, Isagi stated that his goal is to study Kaiser and use him as a stepping stone so he can become a better player.
Isagi decided he had to change his approach, so he chose to stop interfering with Kaiser and observe him instead. Isagi decided to watch how Kaiser played along Bastard Munchen and how he created a game plan to utilize his goal-scoring formula.
Since Isagi wasn't interfering with the play, Kaiser was able to freely play as he pleased, and he was able to score another incredible equalizer. We got to see an unstoppable Kaiser impact that flashed past half the Manshine City players. Kaiser further proved his hype as a new Gen 11 striker, and he left the whole Manshine City team completely speechless.
This was a great display of Kaiser's abilities, but the most important thing is that Isagi was able to further understand Kaiser's goal-scoring formula, Metavision and Kaiser impact.
After analyzing Kaiser's goal, Isagi was able to dissect Kaiser as a template, and he was able to utilize Metavision for himself. This was the first step in making Kaiser the Naked Emperor. Isagi was able to steal a skill from Michael Kaiser, and this drastically improved Isagi throughout the match.
After scoring his wonder goal, Kaiser slowly started to fade away in that match. After Isagi started using Metavision, he became the eye of the storm and took the attention as the best player of the field. While Isagi was shining, Kaiser was breaking down and showing his insecurities.
By the final moments of the match, we can see that Kaiser's slowly starting to crack under the pressure. His flaws start to come to the surface. We start to see how fragile his ego is. It's obvious that Kaiser is obsessed with himself and he views himself too highly, but it's important to note that Kaiser has a fragile ego and he only targets certain players.
This is true. When you take into consideration the 1v1 against Chris Prince, this was the first time we got to see Kaiser truly frustrated. In his 1v1 matchup against Chris Prince, Kaiser gets called out by Prince for avoiding him in a challenge, even going so far as to call him a coward and that he's avoiding the best players.
This comment triggers Kaiser, and he decides to duel Prince in the 1v1. Kaiser inevitably loses to Prince. The reason why we point this out is because Kaiser took the bait, and we believe that this indicates that Prince is probably speaking some truth.
But let's fast forward to after the Manshine match. We see Kaiser and Ness talking about everyone he decided to crush. Kaiser states how he has defeated a variety of second-rate veterans, clueless rookies, and fading superstars.
Notice that none of these players that Kaiser mentioned were at star level. Indicates that Kaiser only chooses players to go against that he believes he can't lose against. Kaiser isn't challenging himself enough to improve. He's only going after other people to crush, and he expected Isagi was just another insignificant scrub that he could easily crush, but he was so wrong by picking Isagi.
Kaiser picking on Isagi was his worst choice. Kaiser was truly not prepared to deal with a player like Isagi. His god complex blinded him, and he chose to mess around with the wrong person. Thanks to analyzing Kaiser, Isagi showed his skills as a masterful playmaker due to his awakening of metavision and egocentrism.
Utilizing these two concepts, Isagi was able to dominate the match as the man of the match, and in the final moments, he was even able to insult and embarrass Kaiser.
And this further infuriated Kaiser, admitting that in that split moment, he did lose to Isagi. And from here, he challenges Isagi as a striker. I bet to see who will score more goals between the both of them in their next match against Ubers.
The tension was already high because of the personal rivalry between Isagi and Kaiser. But to make it more interesting, Noel Noa also said that whoever manages to defeat the defensive Ubers will be the king of the Bastard Munchen team. So there's even more on the line now.
So the match kicks off with both teams immediately going after each other. We see both teams trying to secure the momentum, but unfortunately for Kaiser, he was getting shut down by the new Gen 11 center back Don Lorenzo early on.
Throughout that match, Kaiser was almost non-existent. Don Lorenzo was locking him up multiple times, and while this was happening, Isagi was having his best performance in the NEL. Isagi was even able to score the first goal of the game and embarrass Kaiser's lackey in the process.
While Isagi was flourishing, Kaiser and Ness had their worst performances against Ubers. Ness was completely shut down and Kaiser was pushed to desperate measures. This is seen especially when Kaiser reluctantly took Isagi's pass and scored a goal with it.
This was all an attempt to beat Don Lorenzo because he was getting locked up throughout the match. Kaiser and Ness weren't able to create chances together, so he resulted in linking up with Isagi. If he never linked up with Isagi, Kaiser would have never scored in that match. Kaiser impact bicycle kick was my favorite goal in the NEL, but to Kaiser, it was just a shitty hyena-like goal. Kaiser isn't satisfied with the goal because he knows Isagi controlled the factor of making it happen. He feels as if he's not doing his impossible, and he admits that he feels like he's losing in this match.
Since Isagi's involvement, Kaiser has not been receiving the same treatment from the entire Bastard Munchen team. The remnants of Bastard Munchen's original attack, Ness and Grimm, try to help Kaiser as much as possible, but they're easily shut down by Lorenzo and Ubers throughout the match.
Kaiser was living his worst nightmare. He was slowly becoming second to Isagi. It is no longer the team that Kaiser used to control. By the end of the match, Isagi was able to beat Kaiser as a striker, and he earned the title as the king of Bastard Munchen.
Bastard Munchen is no longer Kaiser's team. This is a first for Kaiser as he has always been viewed as the king of Bastard Munchen.
At the end of the match, Kaiser releases a violent scream in frustration. He's furious by the fact that Isagi outshined him. Kaiser is slowly losing his position in Bastard Munchen, and Isagi's threat of the Naked Emperor is slowly coming true.
And right now, we're currently seeing the PXG versus Bastard Munchen match take place, and things are not going in Kaiser's favor. Kaiser, Ness, and Grimm started a counterattack between the three of them after Isagi won the ball. Kaiser thought this tactic would work and he would be able to create chances for him to shoot with the Kaiser impact, but he was gravely mistaken.
Rin was even able to steal the ball off Kaiser's foot before he was even able to shoot.
Even Isagi and Kaiser were baffled by Rin's ability to shut down the Kaiser impact. But with that being said, Kaiser has to be able to get his shine back in this match. Isagi was the man of the match for Manshine City, and he also scored more goals than Kaiser in the Ubers match. Getting embarrassed by Rin like that also will add more fuel into the fire. I predict Isagi is going to have an amazing moment in this match due to an amazing moment from Kaiser and him finally getting his shine back. And at the end of chapter 240, Isagi is plotting to win against both Kaiser and Ren and claim the throne for himself. Kaiser is also trying to destroy Isagi, and I think that will be the fuel for Kaiser to make an amazing play in this match that will challenge Isagi to perform at an even higher level.
Maybe something like that could happen. Personally, I believe at the end of the match, Kaiser will enter a flow state trying to score the goal and win the match, but maybe Rin or Cross will be able to stop him again, and this is where Isagi comes in. I believe Isagi will be able to react to Kaiser's flow state, and the two will link up. We've seen a lot of hints about Kaiser and Isagi becoming a great two-man team. My theory is that Isagi's going to force Kaiser to pass the ball to him at the last moment. Isagi's going to try to overwhelm Kaiser's fragile ego in a similar moment to how he forced Baro to pass the ball to him in the second selection. With Kaiser passing the ball to Isagi and assisting Isagi in the winning goal, I think this will ultimately complete Isagi's Naked King reference to Kaiser. Making his rival give him the assist and admit to him that Isagi is an absolute striker, I think that's a great way for Kaiser to lose everything and actually become the Naked Emperor. Imagine having everything stolen from him by Isagi, and he even loses his ego, team, everything from him. Isagi can win the finals, and he could also secure the spot as the #1 player in Blue Lock.
I definitely do agree with a lot of that. I do think that Kaiser and Isagi will need to link up in this match at some point. I do believe that's the only way they're going to be able to take down PXG, and just seeing that Isagi and Kaiser link up would be truly amazing just to see overall.
What do you guys think? Do you think Kaiser's gonna end as the king of the Bastard Munchen team? Do you think he's gonna eventually have his own demise by the hand of Isagi? Please let us know in the comments.
And if you watched up until this point, please do not forget to like, comment, or subscribe. And we also have a link to our Hikikyo community Discord in the description of this video.
Thank you for sticking to the end.